Hey, everybody. I'm back here with my buddy and my partner and my brother from another mother,
Ooh.
Eric Howerton. And he looks really smart today. He's got his glasses on. He's I don't know. He's just got a super intelligent
Thank you.
look today. He's aging well. His salt and pepper beard.
Ooh.
Trimmed closely like all you young guys do.
That's right.
So anyway, we're back with another episode of Big Talk About Small Business.
It's just going to get really weird in about a year from now, you know?
So anyway, today we're going to talk about building teams.
I love it. I love that topic.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about that one.
Hey, if you want to be able to build a company, you got to be able to build a team, right? It's just that simple.
It is. I mean, your company is filled with people.
Right.
How do you build a team? If you can build a team, you can build a company.
And a high performance team at that.
Absolutely.
And it's something we all struggle with.
Absolutely, man.
So I'm looking forward to this topic today.
So before we get into it, though,
Yeah.
one thing that we're going to be doing now is a little bit of a history lesson.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So, but to start out with, like what I'm really going to be doing is following this book called The American Entrepreneur, and it's written by Larry Schweikart, who's a PhD, which we know we love the PhDs.
Absolutely.
Right. And by Lynn Pearson Doty, who's also a PhD, published by HarperCollins Leadership.
You made me buy this book.
I did, and we've talked about it in the past in some episodes. But look, man, I mean, I'm passionate about this book because as an entrepreneur, I didn't know what I was. Mm-hmm. I was actually just doing stuff, right, and just following visions and things. I mean, I was like, why in the hell is this not being done? I'm going to go do it. And then years later, I was like, okay, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I can't fit into the corporation. Because so am I just a narcissist, which is actually turning out to be one of the best things in the world as I get older. I'm like, why am I not a narcissist? Because narcissists win. But anyway, but it wasn't until I found this book that I really started to understand myself as an entrepreneur. Because let's face it, as an entrepreneur, you're living on an island because nobody can understand what you're talking about. You tell a vision, people might follow for a day, but then they drift away, and you're like, why can't people see this? And so to me, this is such a big deal with our show. If you're an entrepreneur, to know how to identify as an entrepreneur. So anyway, this book has been excellent. It's basically, it's about, its statement is the fascinating stories of the people who define business in the United States. And I feel like that the first lesson here that we need to land it on is how do we define what an entrepreneur is? Because that's one of these big misconceptions, right? Sure. There's a lot of opinion about that, but I like the way that they defined it. And so I got a few things here I want to read.
Okay.
The essence of entrepreneurship is capitalism. I think you're going to like this stuff too, by the way. An economic system elaborated by Adam Smith in his famous book written in 1776.
Wow.
All right.
So the year this country was founded.
Exactly. That book was called An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. Basically, Adam Smith explained that economic wealth creation is a process of making products or providing services with the goal of personal gain. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, some entrepreneurs, especially back in the old days, they would start businesses for the sake of survival.
Right.
Right. I mean, like,
sure,
like
you got to eat.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think that's what I love about the history of this is like how we see entrepreneurism today is a lot different than how it all started. Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, I think we can agree that entrepreneurs built this country and built capitalism. Right. That's what it is. I mean, but back in the day, like you would start a business so that you could feed your family.
Of course. Yeah, there weren't jobs.
Right.
Quote, jobs available.
There wasn't like management positions and all this structure like we've been experiencing. That actually started like in the 40s and stuff, right? All this professional management, after the railroads really kind of kicked off, according to this book, all of professional managers that we are now living in times today. And we're actually conflicted, and we mix up a professional manager with an entrepreneur. They're two different folks.
God, yes, they are.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
But so a lot of entrepreneurs started out for survival. Other one's power, fame.
Right.
But what the book's saying is that really all these things lead back to a gain of wealth, right? And they even stated, like, if an entrepreneur says they're not in it for themselves, then they're freaking be careful, because that's not what entrepreneurs do. They're going after personal gain. The interest result in wealth as a byproduct, but the rational self-interest is the most important motivating force for the entrepreneur. And here's what the society starts benefiting off these entrepreneurs with this self-interest of personal gain, right? And
that's the theory behind capitalism.
Right.
Each man pursuing his own self-interest benefits the whole.
Exactly. And so I think what my point there is, because I felt bad for quite some time because of civilization, society, and education saying, don't go after your own things. It's not okay. You need to look out for other people.
Well, the only thing, it's not, I think, though, that to say go after your own things, it's not just money, though.
Right.
At all. Your own thing might be to prove a point.
Yeah.
Your own thing might be to improve the community that you live in. So I think there's other ways to define that besides just pure financial gain, right? And it says it's an outcome of it. It's not necessarily the goal.
Right. But but I think that if you don't know that you're an entrepreneur, but you have this desire for a personal gain, you shouldn't feel bad about that, because it's actually good for the whole.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah. Because I think it's important, though, for people that are thinking about starting their own business.
Well, I think you're right, because this whole sort of, whether you want to call it a guilt complex or whatever it is, it's a problem in a lot of companies. We're talking about building a team.
Yeah.
There are team members who think it's bad for the company to be profitable, that somehow that means they're part of something that's exploitational. I mean, I'm involved with one that's like that now. The general line worker wants to rail against the man.
Yep.
And blame them for all their woes.
Yep.
Okay. And they feel like they are, in a sense, morally superior because they don't make money, as crazy as that sounds. But then that's also the same source of their bitterness and hostility.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? It's like we can unknowingly sabotage ourselves as employees.
Exactly. Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, you can unknowingly sabotage yourself by listening to that type of rhetoric. So if I'm a new entrepreneur in today's time, after listening to the news and all this type of opinion where, like, companies are terrible, profits terrible, your friend circle's talking smack, and then you go into business feeling like you shouldn't have personal gain.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's not likely to be a good outcome.
It's not going to be. And then you're madder at the entrepreneur in the capitalist system, right?
Right.
But what I like about the way it drills down, let's get down to the definition, and I'm leading up to that. The entrepreneur is an innovator, not an inventor, who leads the economy forward into a new paradigm.
I love that.
This individual is a change agent driving an often reluctant society into more efficient use of its resources. It's a good definition.
It is.
This innovation can be a way to buy cheap, as in making a product with less expensive resources, or it can be a way to sell high by making a product or service
superior.
Yeah. By lowering costs or raising price, the entrepreneur creates space for profit, for the entrepreneur's own reward. It's beautiful, isn't it? So anyway, the entrepreneur took a leap of faith. They also shared other characteristics that stepped out of faith with a total and complete dedication. The total dedication came at a great personal cost. So this definition of entrepreneurship, right? They see a market, they take a leap of faith, and it comes with personal sacrifice. Right? And so the definition, according to this book, is the person who takes the risk to create material wealth in the economic realm. So I think that this stigma of we want this company to be entrepreneurial. for an entrepreneurial company.
Right.
It's going to be hard to ever do that because everybody in the company is not taking a personal risk.
No, they've got a job.
Exactly.
They aren't entrepreneurs. They got
if you're
job.
a freaking entrepreneur, you're either an entrepreneur or you're a manager or you're employed or you're laborer.
Yeah.
But to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, you need to understand you're an entrepreneur. And if you don't understand what that is, then you could be in a lot of hurt.
I mean, we're going through this again with another company I'm associated with the salespeople. So we've got a salesperson who's very competent, intelligent, knowledgeable about the product and service, wants to make more money. It's made the same money for 3 years, works 41.5 hours a week on average. It's like, okay, you want to make more money?
Work harder.
Kick it up to 60, and I'll bet you make 50% more than you make right now.
It's true.
Okay?
It's so simple.
But won't do that at all. There's no, in other words, there's no sacrifice
Boom.
to get the gain.
Boom.
He's not entrepreneurial, okay?
Yeah.
Now, you could say he's not the right, doesn't have the right orientation to be a successful salesperson, ultimately. Maybe he does, at a certain level.
Yeah.
But that's the level that he's going to achieve.
But just like in anything in life, if he really wanted it and would sacrifice his time or his leisure to start learning more tactics about sales, to learn how to
make more calls, all of it. It all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does.
And so I think that's a really good definition about making the sacrifice. Some people can see that, and they do it. And again, now this goes back to our big topic for the day, which is team building. Okay? Do you want to build your team with people who cap off their efforts and will only take it so far? How many of them can you have on your team to be a true high-performance championship team winner? Okay? That's the problem that I have, right?
Yep.
It's like, everybody needs to understand. I mean, sort of the basic position I want to stake out in any company that I own or am a part of is either you're going to be doing a whole lot better in 2 or 3 years, like making 50 to 100% more money here, or you will not be here. Okay? The option of doing what you do and making what you make in 3 years from now is not an option.
No.
You're either going up or out. All right. And that's the only way we're going to make this thing what it can be. Okay.
Yep.
And the only way that's going to happen is if the company's growing, it's profitable, it has good cash flow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't do more for you if it doesn't do any of those things.
And I would say, to your point, especially in the beginning of starting your business, you've got to select championship attitudes on the team. I don't, when I hire people, all right, just for any of those that might want to ever work with me, I am 100% intuitively listening and watching for a good attitude.
Hire for attitude, train for skill. Most companies do the opposite.
They teach you the opposite.
They do. It's like you must have 3.2 years of experience and an undergraduate degree in graphic design.
That's awesome.
And have worked in a company of at least 50 employees, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so true.
3 to 5 years experience,
but
education in this. I mean,
the attitude is everything because you can learn then.
Totally.
And you're going to put the effort out. But the problem is, when you talk about starting a company, most companies, when they start, who do you think they hire? I'll tell you.
Okay.
Or even answer. They hire their relatives.
Oh.
They hire people who work cheap and their friends. And the seeds of your HR destruction are planted in those three.
That's a beautiful statement. That shit needs to be a pull quote. That's a snippet that needs to be put on LinkedIn.
It's the truth, though.
It is.
And so then right from the get-go, you've got a low-performance team where you can't be honest with the people.
Yeah.
Or your expectations are low because you're paying them nothing. And that's not the way to propel the thing forward.
The mentality for making those choices, I think, lies in our misconception of trust, right? Like you hire your friends, your family, people close to you because you are trusting that they're going to have the best intention for your business. I'm here to tell you that is not ever reality. It is. I don't know where we get that from. Maybe from, religion or civilization or society or education or something that teaches us when we're really young. Culture. When we're really young, that your friends are the trust, but when you get into business and you're trying to build a company, it's like one of the worst mistakes that you could actually make.
It really is, because you can't deal with them honestly, or most people can't, because you ruin the relationship.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that with a family member.
No.
Okay. But, they're available, or they're in need, or they're cheap, or, as you said, you trust them to be the one at the cash register.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking. And we're literally.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. We're not getting the right people from the get-go on the team. And then the other problem is we are not dealing with those people effectively when they're on the team. Okay? And there's a whole lot of elements to that I think we could talk about. Lack of goals and expectations that are clear, right? A lot of times we just don't do it. Again, I gave a lecture to somebody in the last 2 days. Every one of your managers needs to have a list of goals and expectations from you for what they're going to do this freaking year. You may assume they understand that.
No.
And you could say, well, we've talked about this stuff, but they need specifically to know you will produce X.
And it needs to be written down, available for them. You need to go through it with a regular basis, track it.
Report it to everybody if you really want to create accountability. It's the culture that creates the accountability, not just you.
I believe that 100%. Like any time that I'm working with my team, in my mind I'm thinking, how do I expose what they're doing to their peer group?
Yes. Super critical.
You've got to. Like I literally don't think of management, at least in this entrepreneurial space, as me managing somebody. It doesn't, I don't do a really great job at it. I'm not a professional manager. I'm
the same way.
But I'll let the culture of the company manage these.
The information flowing so everybody knows what the hell the other guy's doing.
That's right.
I think that's really critical. But so it starts with that, but it also starts, I think, with communicating this idea that a lot of company owners, entrepreneurs are afraid to express, which is we want to be a winning team. Mm-hmm. We need superior players to do that. Mm-hmm. I could like you. I could love you.
Yeah.
I can respect you as an individual, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the right person to be on my team playing on second base.
That's right.
That's right. It just, that's a different thing.
Yep.
And so, we're afraid that, well, if we don't keep everybody on the team, then the other team members are going to be upset with us, or we're going to hurt somebody, Actually, we're doing them all a favor.
Yeah.
We're doing the teammates a favor by trying to get somebody who's better, that makes their job easier and makes us more successful. And the person that we're kicking off the team, we're doing them a favor. We're not holding them back anymore.
Yeah.
They've got a new shot to go somewhere where they are a viable team member.
That's right. If they can pick it up and go.
Yeah.
How many times, there's been all my experiences except maybe one of when I've let someone go in the company, that I've had the rest of the team come back and then all of a sudden they open up and say,
why didn't you do that sooner?
Yeah, man, that was such a good move.
Yeah.
You're like, why didn't you say something sooner, about how this person is toxic? Because a lot of times when you're, as the business owner, you can't really see it. However, I would say you can sense it very early on.
Yes.
A lot of the decisions you got to make for your team.
Right.
As the entrepreneur, you can sense it. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Of course. Here's the other thing, too. As well as I do, the toxic people, they may be very capable. They may be very intelligent.
Sure.
They may even be hard workers.
Yes.
But they're super cynical, and their attitude pollutes everybody else. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the problem that we all have is, or at least I think many people have, is, well, if I eliminate the cynic, Am I somebody who only wants to surround myself with yes men? That's the next thing you'll hear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Eric didn't want to hear from so-and-so because they were always critical of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's too, as a leader, you can't give him your opinion because he freaking knows everything.
And then you hear the comment that people that challenge, or debate with you make things better, which I can agree with that to a certain point. But these cynical
There's
folks,
a certain point.
There is. It's a really quick line that they cross.
Yeah.
When you have somebody that challenges you, and their intent though is to make the company better, right, and to make the people and the culture in the company better. But if their intent, if you can quickly glimpse that they're trying to just run shit, they want to
tear things down, to show how smart they are.
Exactly. They think that they can. When you have somebody that believes they can do some shit better than you as the business owner and entrepreneur with everything on the line, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Because number one, they don't know usually what the hell they're talking about because they're not entrepreneurs. They don't deal with a small business. But they have an ulterior motive to basically tear the company down and to oust you as a business. You got to deal with that really quick.
I think so. It's the most cancerous thing in the world. I mean, we touched on this in a prior episode, why managers don't deal with these people.
Yeah.
And, part of it is, well, I've got to do their job. Mm-hmm. Part of it is, well, I'm worried about the other people who they're out there influencing and being, most of the time people don't quit, though, when you get rid of that person.
No.
They're
only a small few, but they've been so
polluted. They probably need to go anyway.
They
right?
do.
But they sit out there, and so you don't want to do their job. You're afraid of what the public reaction is going to be. You
might lose accounts. You might lose business.
Right. But you know what you might get? You might find you get somebody who's really good and really nice and really positive and is a positive influence over 20 people and makes a huge difference and is a spark plug out there that makes your whole life easier.
I had a fellow entrepreneur.
That's what you might get.
Yeah, I had a fellow entrepreneur not even 90 days ago, had two key people that had been on his team for years. Mm-hmm. And, man, he was just running around catering to make sure that they were staying happy. They started complaining, and then they just dropped the ball and left them. And this entrepreneur went through that period of, man, people, don't believe in me. They're leaving. They're talking smack. They're, am I really not doing a good job? And so you get in that hole because you're already isolated as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And when you start taking on these negative circumstances and you start doubting yourself and your own vision,
internalizing it,
dude, it goes. I mean, this isn't a gradual decline.
Right.
This is a freaking crash into the pit.
It's like a free fall. Yeah,
dude, it totally is. And I like, because of my experiences, I caught him real quick. I'm like, dude, quit being a bitch, right? And you're thinking about this all the wrong way. And I was like, the best thing that could have ever happened to you is those people left. You're going to turn around, go into your company the very next week, and you're going to meet with your team, and you're going to rally everybody together, and you're going to see, and immediately within a week, this energy came out of nowhere with the entire company.
Love it.
Yeah, and then he's just exhilarated. He's like, dude, something's happening here. And they started making more sales. They started getting processes in line. They started seeing all this shit that these really smart, good people weren't dealing with. Right. And it's just all this ugly matter that they're having to deal with. They're like, oh, my God, they weren't even really working that much.
Exactly.
They're terrible.
It gives you an opportunity to actually do a lot better.
Totally.
That's the
freedom.
Thing. Yes. They're a drag on the system, but you get convinced you can't do without them. Okay.
So, what's kind of cool about our conversation is we're talking about building teams, but the first thing you and I are getting on here is about how to prevent the negative team building.
Right.
Right. The anti-team build, which is a lot of times, man, in my experience, there's these individuals that come into a company. And a lot of times you'll hire them because they have, and that's what happened to this guy. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what happened to this guy. He's like, man, I finally got to a place where I can afford to bring in somebody that's got experience, has got connections, has got talent, knows what they're talking about, and they can do the things that I can't. I'm out of capacity as an entrepreneur. They can take that on. I don't have to manage it anymore. It is, and it's all about that instead of an attitude of somebody that comes in.
I will never, sorry to interrupt you, but you brought back a memory for me. It goes back to about 1990.
Yeah.
When Fred White and I had our company, and we probably had 8 or 10 people at most there. And we had a chance, we had an opportunity to do appraisal work of firms. So I went out and I hired this guy who was a CPA, civil engineer.
Wow.
And MBA. Okay.
Ooh, the best of the best.
I mean, it is. It checked all the boxes. Yeah. I mean, our clients are engineers. He's an accountant. He's got his MBA. He understands business on a broad level. Anyway, so the guy was always kind of sarcastic and snarky. Yeah. Okay. So we had a party maybe, 6 months or a year after he joined the firm. Yeah. And his wife tells my wife that so-and-so feels like he's really needed there because Fred and Mark are like 2 little kids in a candy store, quote unquote. Okay. That just blow their money. All right. I was so freaking pissed.
Good.
I called him in and I said, dude, okay, I don't need to hear that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. You have absolutely no reason to say that. We are profitable. You're making more money than you ever made in a job. We're growing by 30% annually. I don't want to hear that crap. Okay?
Did you fire
Don't
him?
ever say that again. I did eventually fire him, but it wasn't that. It was because he did an appraisal and I got a 20-page scathing letter from the client addressed to me with all the problems in it. And I read that entire letter. I called the client. I said, I agree with 98% of what you've written here. And then I called the guy in and challenged him on it. He goes, you want to play games? What number do you want? You tell me the number, I'll give you that number. What, you want to play games? I go, I don't want to play games at all.
Jeez, man.
I just want something that's accurate and defensible. You're fired. And that was the end of the guy. Okay? By the way, I replaced him with somebody who did 10 times the revenue that he did within 2 or 3
With less credentials?
Yes. 10 times the revenue within 2 to 3 years.
Man, there's a significant problem with people that get credentials and they get ahead of themselves. And then there's people that have experience with bigger companies that come to smaller companies. Beware.
Oh, I'm telling you. This is the way we did it at Megacorp.
Beware,
yes.
bro.
We're not Megacorp.
We're not. We don't have the resources.
Exactly.
We don't have the bureaucracy.
We don't have the capital.
No.
Yeah.
This isn't a political freaking ladder game.
Oh, my God. I hate that.
Dude. And it's so devastating. And like, you can't.
They'll screw
you
everything
have
up.
to kind of go through a couple of instances to learn the hard way.
It's so true.
Even though we're sitting here talking about this, I can promise you that you as a listener right now, you're going, oh, I'm hearing it. But your actions are going to be different when you're in your business because you're going to get caught up. And oh my gosh, I've recruited so-and-so from this company. And
we're disorganized here. We need their help to get the system fixed.
That company's bigger than mine. I need to get their key person. They're going to come over here and fix everything.
Yes.
Big companies make the same damn mistake.
Exactly. But they got so much inertia and so many resources they can plow through it. Where you may not be able to as the entrepreneur.
That's right.
Oh, it's so true. I can't tell you how many times. But that.
So if you want to build a team, don't hire these people. Don't hire. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, don't hire personal friends.
Yeah.
Don't hire family members.
Yeah.
Don't hire people that are better, highly credentialed with all this experience and bring them into your company, especially in the beginning when you're trying to create. You have got to nail the energy and the passion of this team and the attitudes of the people that are joining you that will go do shit because the shit needs to be done.
And they believe it's possible.
Yes. That's who I want on my team, baby. I want champion believing people. I want people that are driving for a single focus. I want to see people grow. I want to see people's self-confidence I want to create that self-confidence, not pull self-confidence from somebody else.
Yeah, you want to see their sense of possibility increase.
Yes.
Their view of what's possible, because that's the only way they're going to achieve it for themselves and their families. It's so true. But, back on this credential thing.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sorry if I offend anybody when I say this, okay? But I'm only telling you this for your own benefit. If you put the initials MBA behind your name, you look incredibly friggin' insecure. All right? Now, I see this on business cards. I see it in LinkedIn. You look like it to people in the know. At least people, I say that, people like myself, I have an MBA. I don't friggin' have to publicize that. What? You just look insecure. You're telling everybody, I've got an MBA, therefore I know better than you. And you don't. A lot of times. I'm sorry.
Right.
It just makes you look insecure.
Well, because the reality is that it's really your experience.
Yes.
That will get you the better position, the better job.
And your performance.
Your performance.
Yeah,
your
track record. Yeah. Your
personality.
I'm not saying an MBA is not important. I just think sticking it behind your name like you're a physician or a PhD or a professional engineer, which are things that you have to take tests and have, pass certain milestones to achieve. You look like
well, because there's restrictions out there if you don't have those
required. There's a legal.
If there's not a legal requirement behind your credentials, you don't need to. You can come across opposite of what you're trying to achieve by putting your credentials.
I think so. You just look like an idiot. Anyway, sorry if I offend you, but you should take that off your name if you got it.
Yeah.
Take it off. You look silly.
So, no, I don't disagree with that. Back on the building teams, it's funny, I actually was talking to another entrepreneur this morning. Mm-hmm. And I actually expressed to him, I was like, listen, I had a clear answer in a way, because I was dealing with just a lot of things, like a lot of dynamics going on in the business. I'm like, what is it? And you always got to ask yourself the question, what is the main priority for me literally this week, in the next coming weeks?
Yes.
Because it's a shitstorm, man.
Of course, yeah.
And so I was like,
it's the most important thing.
Like, what do I need to do? Mm-hmm. And I got a clear answer, like, train your team. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to spend most of my time and energy training my team about things that I know that they need to go do, training them with goals, with vision, and being able to see stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when you do that, you don't see results like immediately, but in a week, 2 weeks, you start going, oh my gosh, these people have now become more capable and taking things off. And I think another thing that's really important along with that, but also in building your team, is you have to dedicate time one-on-one with them.
Yes.
You have to talk with them. You have to build a relationship with them.
Absolutely.
You have to spend time. You have to take them out to coffee. You have to buy them lunch. You have to, and then you have to sit down and work with them. You have to do working meetings with them, not freaking, here's your goal and you're not hitting the metric. You got to be able to.
You got to help them. You got to do a project together.
Get dirty, man.
Exactly.
Get your hands dirty with them.
Amen, brother.
How are you going to teach somebody to lay bricks if you say you should lay bricks? Go out and read about how.
Yeah, no, you got to show them how to lay a brick.
You got to.
Demonstrate it.
It's
so key. I mean, this is so true. And it's, I've got a friend. He's a CEO of a company. He's overworked. He's a classic. He's super entrepreneurial guy. He'll work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. He has, but he doesn't train his managers, and he doesn't lay the expectations on them about what they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, basically, the system is they decide what they want to do, and that's what they do, and they don't do any more than that. So he picks up the pieces because somebody's got to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like,
that sure is
nice.
It's like a very giving way to make yourself make yourself miserable.
It is. Fred White used to say, Smart people are inherently lazy. Okay. Now, he what he meant with that is, and Fred was far from the lazy.
Yeah.
He was anything but
He
lazy.
was relentless, wasn't he?
He was absolutely relentless and worked his ass off. But as a manager, I understand that. It's like I always felt like anything I could dole off, I want to dole off as fast as I can, because I'm going to find something else to do to stay busy. Don't worry. It's not that I'm just going to sit there and screw around and play games on my phone or some damn thing, or browse eBay for a classic car part. I'm going to do something useful. But anything I can dole off to other people, I want to dole off. It's just my nature. That helps when it comes to building a team.
Absolutely.
It really does.
You've got to have a team to depend on that will do you've got to.
Well, if that's your attitude, then you sure want to be doling it off to incompetent people who do a bad job with it. So it forces you to upgrade your team. Either train the people and fix them or get new ones.
Yeah. I told my team yesterday, the answer to all of our problems is not hire more people. It's processes. Processes. Like you're competent and capable. Write it down. You have to be relentless about the process.
Want a consistent result? You need a consistent process.
Absolutely.
Anybody in manufacturing understands that.
I love manufacturing. I really feel like I should have been in manufacturing. Like it's so
gratifying.
Absolutely love it. I love the ideas of working on a line and changing just one little thing, and it just makes everything a little bit faster.
It's so fascinating just watching products just come out.
It's genius. It's one of the most genius things that we've done from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Thank Eli Whitney with the cotton gin.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
He was the first guy to make them basically in an assembly line.
Yeah, just like making things more and more efficient.
Yeah.
And the thing is that core team, if they can, you have to speak that repetitively into the team, because we're not trained to be process oriented, to build a process. It's more, you get trained that you have to be credentialed and learn and be educated, self-educated in order to get a high-paying job.
Yeah.
But if we're trained to be process oriented, we'd all be building processes and we could come in and fix stuff.
That was always my thought when it came to marketing. I mean, I coined what today they call, content marketing.
Oh, yeah.
I called it process marketing.
Love it.
And I mean, we had videos and articles on this, but it's like if you have a consistent process, you'll get a consistent result at the other end.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you never tweak your process. You're constantly tweaking it to make it perform better. But it's got to be a process. It can't be like, I'm going to do marketing now, and then I'm going to not do it for the next 3 weeks. Then I'm going to do, that gets you inconsistent results.
Yeah.
Let the laws of probability work in your favor. Have enough activities that it drives the results that come out the other end of the line. And it's all about the process.
So let's talk about, we talked about who not to hire again.
Yeah.
And why not. But let's talk about, like, how would you recruit? Or recruit maybe not the best word for it, but how do you find and bring in and then hire what you would consider to be the right team members for a small business? I
mean, you got to me, there's sort of three things you can do. I mean, there's more than this, but three main ones. One is you hire interns while they're in school. And you hire a lot of them, and the best ones you hire when they get out of school, and they know what to expect from you, and you know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
So all new grads need to be interns first. Secondly, people you meet that impress you. I've hired my house cleaner before. It ended up being my CFO the first time around. Because she was a hard worker, and she was intelligent. People you meet at the store, at the restaurant, they're well-spoken. The dress shop with my wife, somebody treats her completely differently than the other employees. And she's like, you should hire that person.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love it.
So that's another place. And then the other place I've done before is I go directly to my competitors that are doing a good job. And I will call the person in charge of that area and say, look, here's who I am, and this is my company. And I've heard good things about you.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you'd even consider making a move or not, but I'd love to buy you lunch, breakfast, coffee, get better acquainted, tell you what we're doing over here, and just see if there's anything for us to talk about. Just go directly after them. They're doing it.
One area that I've always appreciated, and I don't know that I've hired, I think, a couple in the past, but servers at restaurants.
Exactly. Love it.
When a server comes to me and I sit down and they come in and they're like, hey, how are you doing? Welcome to so-and-so. What can I get you to drink? You having a great day? They're smiling.
I know.
And then it's like a perfect interview. I watch every step and they come back and they're on time. They pre-bus. They get my order right. They put it in. They give me my check on time.
Do you know how many of those people would be thrilled to get a, quote, real job in a company like yours? Okay.
They don't want to be a server forever.
They're doing what they need to be to not be one forever.
That's right. They're usually going to school, trying to. If the only problem is that if you can then shake off the education enough, right? Because the expectation in the education is like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to make $65,000 my first job, and it's going to be with here, and that's just not reality.
Yeah, well, some of them are like single mothers working 2 jobs too, though.
Love that, though.
40 years old. I mean,
love that.
Those, I think it's a great point. I mean, because it's so clear when they distinguish themselves over their peers.
Yeah.
With,
none of this is rocket science.
It's not. It's
Look
just
for
not.
good people that have good attitudes in life that are trying to do something.
Yes.
And they want to grow. They're just looking for a mentor.
Yeah.
Mentor not only with the entrepreneur, but with the team.
Yep.
And they want to accelerate their life. And they want to find a way.
They want to be in an environment that respects their capability and effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But so, I mean, we got to recruit the right people. We got to manage them the right way so we don't ruin them and get the most out of them. And then we've got to be willing to boot people off the team. I mean, it does come down to a sports analogy most of the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at like a winning coach in any sport, they're constantly recruiting, trying to upgrade their team members. So again, I got this firm, and comes back to us that one of the people is looking for a new job from several different sources, and has actually applied for one. In one case, he told everybody. In another case, it came back to us from the employer. So what are we going to do? We're going to wait until he quits, which is what we're doing right now. Or say, look, so-and-so. My advice is we call him in and say, look, so-and-so, we know you are looking for another job. Okay? So what we're going to tell you now is we're now looking for your replacement. So you run the risk that if we find somebody we think is better, that you're going to be gone. Because you clearly said you don't want to be on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think that's a fair thing to
do? Like, actually.
I mean, or do we just sit there and wait for them to decide on their schedule to leave us high and effing dry? Huh? It makes us weak.
Yes.
It makes us look like we're lucky that somebody with that attitude worked there, but now they're smarter than we are, so they're going to leave us.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
It's devastating.
Toxic.
I had Cameron Smith. Remember Cameron?
Oh, yes, I do.
Like he...
fantastic recruiter, obviously.
Oh, one of the best ever, right?
Yeah, he knew how to treat people.
Yeah, man. He knew that. And he told me, though, like I had somebody in my company that they got a job offer from a different company. And I was
never talk him into staying. That's what he would say.
That's what he did say. He goes, listen.
Never counteroffer.
Never counteroffer. He goes, because it's a bad thing either way. Like if you kept them, they're going to be in their mind thinking, oh, well, the only reason I got a raise is
because I threatened to leave.
Because I threatened to leave.
Yes.
If they go to the other place, right, and then you try to bring them back, it's the same scenario. They'll never, and then the other place is going to have the same problem when they come over.
Exactly.
It's like it's a bad paradox that you don't want to get involved.
You say to everybody there, the way to get ahead is to threaten to quit. Not just that person, everybody, because they all know the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And then the other thing is that the reason they were going to quit probably wasn't money anyway. So they're going to then go out and quit eventually anyway. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, the people you counteroffer are not there within 6 or 9 months. And I've seen studies on this, like 70, 80% are gone anyway.
Dude, you got to.
Okay.
I have noticed the job hopping 2 years. Mm-hmm. Like when you see that crap on their resume, professional two, it's like you know what they're doing, but you hire them anyway because you're in your brain.
So many marketing people are like that. Marketing people in particular. They're great at selling themselves into a job.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
That's their
like
skill.
I almost don't believe in the entire interviewing process or of the resume process because I've never.
I hear you.
I have gone the very professional, formal route and watched all the pros do it, and they end up with the same ball of crap.
I know.
As hiring somebody because I'm emotionally connected to trying to get out of something. If you're hiring somebody to get out of a job for yourself as an entrepreneur, you're making a mistake. Mm-hmm. Because if you hire the best of the best, let me tell you something I learned. If you hire really excellent people, it only means that you have to step up as a better manager.
That's true.
The more talented and skilled and experienced somebody is that comes in your company, the more you as an entrepreneur have to graduate in your management abilities.
Sure.
And you have to become like a pro.
Of course.
Because they're going to expect it. They're going to find your weaknesses, man.
You're up in the team.
That's it. Yeah. And it's hard for some entrepreneurs to do that. I would say that I'm probably not the best. Hey, so we got a new little thing. That was wide cap.
Oh, yeah.
It's sitting here on the table.
Okay.
And so you need to, I think you need to pull out, these are rando questions.
Okay. Yeah, we're running out of time. So
yeah. We got to do this.
All right. I'll pull the first one out of the hat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a question as much as it's a topic.
Okay.
In-depth business plans.
Oh, God.
What do we say about that in 3 minutes?
Yes. So my response is, it's not really the way to start a business and run a business. Like you do need to have business plan. I believe in some forecasting.
Sure.
I believe in writing down like your vision, your purpose.
Yes.
You know, some of those core things that you're going to communicate to get your team aligned to the vision of what that company is.
Right. Not just to raise capital.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
what a lot of people think.
No. That's
it's to actually rally your team.
Yeah, it's you as an entrepreneur have a vision. You put your vision down so that way you can express it, and that way other people can reread it. And you can also, when you're talking to people, read the vision statement. Yeah. Read, this is who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Right.
Not because
this is what we're trying to become.
That's right. Not because because the business plan told me to write it so I can go raise capital.
Oh God, yes.
It's a legitimately that to me is really the core, because if you go into the in-depth, you're freaking outdated in about 3 weeks. I have never seen it. I have never written stuff down. I go back in my notes all the time, and I'm like, that was obsolete.
It becomes more important later on. I mean, initially, you really need the mission, vision, strategies. Mm-hmm. Those are the sort of guiding philosophies for everything.
Yeah.
And some goals.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, goals.
But the in-depth, detailed action plans, that comes as you mature.
Sure.
Then you need that stuff. Okay. Yeah. Your managers out there, your line managers need to be creating a lot of that and feeding it back to you. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree. It's 5-year projections. I mean, come on, month by month. I mean, but we make people do that in school. Yes, okay. I mean, it can be a worthwhile learning exercise, even if it's not realistic at all for a business.
I think the value of that teaching is all it's really doing is forcing you to think ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I think is a great practice. Like when I do my thinking ahead, I'm usually writing it down. I get this inspirational moment. I write it down, but the process of me thinking it, writing it down, it makes it more concrete in my intuition or my subconscious, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really you spend time with your team, training your team, relentlessly working with them. That is the business plan.
Yeah.
And then making sure that...
And responding to changes in the market or your needs as identified by your customers.
Dude, I couldn't...
And success or lack of it.
It's kind of like in this business I have right now. I'm like, I know we're going to be creating some software.
Sure.
But I have zero idea what that is right now.
Right.
Because I know I got to learn. And then when we freaking figure out what we're going to go after, that software plan is going to change dramatically.
Sure.
Because you should be listening to the market and your clients and your audience, and you build off that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. It's an iterative process.
It is.
It's not just here is a clean sheet of paper and then I just do that regardless of what's happening inside or outside of the company, right?
That's right. It could it's a dangerous thing because somebody could get wrapped up into that. You're going to spend so much time and energy on that. Mm-hmm. B, you're going to spend money on it, and then C, you're going to be terribly disappointed when the shit doesn't work at all.
Yep.
And then you're then you're back at square one. So, last thing we have on our show is you got the LinkedIn Hall of Shame.
Oh, yeah. I want to tie this one in, honestly, because it relates to the first of the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And here was somebody who put on LinkedIn that an entrepreneur is an individual who starts and operates their own business and has full control over their daily schedule. That's their definition of what an entrepreneur is. And I think it's idiotic, okay? Because once again, that position says, my job, I'm going out selling, painting address numbers on curbs door to door. I'm an entrepreneur. No, you're not. You're a dude who's barely making a living painting street numbers on curbs so you can eat that week. It's not an entrepreneur. You're in control of your schedule and your income. If I don't go out and knock on doors and get those, and if I don't actually get my stencils and spray paint, I'm not going to be able to do that. The
thing that kind of drives me crazy with that statement is that you're in control. I don't know that I'm ever...
That's another point.
...in control. Like, my clients are in absolute 100% control, and I'll admit it to them. Like, you owe me. I love it.
Yeah.
I love catering to them. I love satisfying, because when I was a server, I loved the sport of making that table the happiest freaking table ever. You know? I mean, it's just something about it. Right?
I know. Yeah.
I love it. So my clients are in control.
Yep.
My team is in control about their needs.
Yep.
And then the market's in control. So I'm really completely out of control. The only control that I have, and this is really important about being an entrepreneur, why I think I'm unemployable. Mm-hmm. The big thing about me is the one control that I have is that I can escape.
Yep.
Whenever the hell I want.
Exactly.
And that's going to make me hard
for a little bit.
For a little bit.
For just a little bit.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I'm talking about like an afternoon.
I get it.
Or a couple of hours here.
Yeah, that makes it hard to be in the system of employment.
Yeah. I'm like, did you put me in a cubicle on a wall and I got to check out? And I mean,
to me, there's one primary thing that makes the difference in an entrepreneur and a small business owner. We've said this before. It's all about growth and value creation. But the other one that was stated early in your definition from Adam Smith.
Yeah.
Or was it?
Well, it's the American Entrepreneur book.
Okay. It was the whole idea of innovation.
Oh, that was Adam Smith that said that.
Yeah. So innovation is the other word that a lot of times is applied because it doesn't mean new invention.
Right.
I've always said that's a problem. True. Because if you think I've got to invent something new to be an entrepreneur and I don't have anything new I want to invent or can, then I can't be one. That's not a job. That's not true.
You can totally, and he mentions it, you can innovate, make things better, make them cheaper, make them faster. There's a million things you can do. And I love, we were talking about, I think maybe it was in the show just now, but we were talking about old houses, going in and looking, you love that.
Right.
Because you can make that old house better. And it has constraints in it already.
Yes.
Like it's not a new house. No. It's not a blank sheet of paper.
Right. You know what that's like. You're trying to design a whole site property for your own.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's Howerton or whatever we're going to call the thing. Howerton Estates. El Rancho Grande, Howerton. If you lived here, you'd be home now. That's what you should do, is have like a big sign over it. El Rancho Grande.
El Rancho Grande, El Howerton.
Yeah. If you lived here, you'd be home now, but you don't. But no, that illustrates your innovation. I mean, again, I always go back to like Tom Gordon at Slim Chickens.
Damn, dude.
Okay? I mean, how many friggin' chicken places are there?
Yeah, you can get chicken on every corner.
But he's like operating in all these different continents now.
We should have him on the show.
We
He's
really
good,
should.
Man. He's good. He's good stuff.
He understands innovation and doing something right, just doing, not trying to be too many different things.
Yeah.
And do one thing really well.
Yeah. And you'll notice when he comes to the show, he's got a lot going on in his brains.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's energizing.
It is.
All right, man. We got to wrap it up, Mark.
All right, buddy.
So people can go, by the way, we're on Facebook now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the audience can go, you can go find us on Facebook. So we just launched that here recently. So like that page and participate. That's a good place for commenting too. I mean, I think that we're going to get a different type of commentary, hopefully, with that.
Yeah.
Our website's still rocking. You can get all our links to our social on our website. You can, submit questions there. Please do. We love the questions. We'll put them in the hat, which is the purpose of that, right? When we get people that have questions, we'll throw them in the hat and we'll answer them one day.
Yep.
Sound good? And then
we'll keep it anonymous, or we'll give you attribution, whichever
whatever
you
you
prefer.
want. Yeah, you tell us.
Yeah.
We'll keep you anonymous unless you say you don't want to be.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah.
And we love those, right? Because just like what we've been talking about, we learn from the market. We share our market. We want to hear from you.
Yep.
Ask us questions. And don't forget to sponsor us.
Yep.
Send us a lot of money so we can do bigger shows.
Yeah, if you're selling anything to small businesses and entrepreneurs, you need to talk with us.
You do. Because
we'll help you sell it.
Yeah, we will. Oh, can you imagine if somebody how much would we be selling some product that's a sponsor for us?
I mean, how much money do we need?
I mean, if QuickBooks sponsored us, how much would we talk good stuff about QuickBooks?
Oh, my God, I know. I tell you. I've got some friends I've got in mind right now.
Oh, I'll be slinging some QuickBooks, man.
I mean, yeah.
Love it.
We love it. QuickBooks is great. You guys should sponsor us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 70% of all small businesses use your product.
Yeah.
Okay. I love QuickBooks Online.
It's great.
I mean, I'm in there every day on my phone. It's fantastic.
All right. Well, I think that's it, man. You always do this end part. This has been...
This end part?
This is your
This is it. We're going to say goodbye till next week.
Yeah.
And until then, it's been another episode of Big Talk About Small Business. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.